Greetings from Exam Heist. We have identified important exam questions. Practice these important questions 2-3 times to get 100% success in exam. Subscribe and comment, share PDF in the below comment section to get PDF of these 40 important questions. If you want to access full dump, please visit www.examheist.com. We have 24/7 support available for your doubts and exam queries.
Question 1. Which two BGP features will result in successful route exchanges between eBGP neighbors sharing the same AS number? Choose 2. Option A. Advertise best external. Option B. Best path as path ignore. Option C. Client-to-client reflection. Option D. As override. Option A. Allow as in. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D is override. Option E allow as in. Question 2. A customer with an IPv4 only network topology wants to enable IPv6 connectivity while preserving the IPv4 topology. Services. The customer plans to migrate IPv4 services to the IPv6 topology. Then decommission the IPv4 topology. Which topology supports these requirements? Option A. Dual stack. Option B. 6VPE. Option C. 6-4. Option D. N8064. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Dual stack. Question 3. A company is running BGP on a single router, which has two connections to the same ISP. Which BGP feature ensures traffic is load balanced across the two links to the ISP? Option A. Multi-hop. Option B. Multipath load sharing. Option C. Next hop address tracking. Option D. AS path prepending. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. Multipath load sharing. Question 4. Company A recently acquired another company. Users of the newly acquired company must be able to access a server that exists on company A's network. Both companies use overlapping IP address ranges. Which action conserves IP address space and provides access to the server? Option A. Use a single IP address to create overload NAT. Option B. Use a single IP address to create a static NAT entry. Option C. Build one-to-one NAT translation for every user that needs access. Option D. Re-IP overlapping address space in the acquired company. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Use a single IP address to create overload NAT. Question 5. Which design consideration should be observed when EIGRP is configured on data center switches? Option A. Perform manual summarization on all Layer 3 interfaces to minimize the size of the routing table. Option B. Prevent unnecessary EIGRP neighborships from forming across switch virtual interfaces. Option C. Lower EIGRP hello and hold timers to their minimum settings to ensure rapid route reconvergence. Option D. Configure multiple EIGRP autonomous systems to segment data center services and applications. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Perform manual summarization on all Layer 3 interfaces to minimize the size of the routing table. Question 6. Which design consideration must be made when using IPv6 overlay tunnels? Option A. Overlay tunnels that connect isolated IPv6 networks are considered a final IPv6 network. Architecture. Option B. Overlay tunnels should only be considered as a transition technique to a permanent solution. Option C. Overlay tunnels should be configured only between border devices and require only the IPv6 protocol. Stack. Option D. Overlay tunneling encapsulates IPv4 packets in IPv6 packets for delivery across an IPv6 Infrastructure. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Overlay tunnels should only be considered as a transition technique toward a permanent solution. Question 7. When a network is designed using is, which two circuit types are supported? Choose 2. Option A. Non-broadcast multi-access. Option B. Multi-access. Option C. Point-to multi-point. Option D. Non-broadcast. Option A. Point-to-point. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B, multi-access. Option E, point-to-point. Question 8. A network solution is being designed for a company that connects to multiple internet service providers. Which Cisco proprietary BGP path attribute will influence outbound traffic flow? Option A. Local preference. Option B. MED. Option C. Wait. Option D. AS path. Option A. Community. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C, wait. Question 9. Refer to the exhibit. EIGRP has been configured on all links. The spoke nodes have been configured as EIGRP stubs. And the WAN links to R3 have higher bandwidth and lower delay than the WAN links to R4. When a link failure occurs at the R1-R2 link, what happens to traffic on R1 that is destined for a subnet attached to R2? Option A. R1 has no route to R2 and drops the traffic. Option B. R1 load balances across the paths through R3 and R4 to reach R2. Option C. R1 forwards the traffic to R3, but R3 drops the traffic. Option D. R1 forwards the traffic to R3 in order to reach R2. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. R1 has no route to R2 and drops the traffic. Question 10. A company is using OSPF between its HQ location and a branch office. HQ is assigned Area 0 and the branch office is assigned Area 1. The company purchases a second branch office. But due to circuit delays to HQ, it decides to connect the new branch office to the existing branch office as a temporary measure. The new branch office is assigned to Area 2. Which OSPF configuration enables all three locations to exchange routes? Option A. The existing branch office must be configured as a stub area. Option B. A virtual link must be configured between the new branch office and HQ. Option C. A sham link must be configured between the new branch office and HQ. Option D. The new branch office must be configured as a stub area. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. A virtual link must be configured between the new branch office and HQ. Question 11. Which method will filter routes between EIGRP neighbors within the same autonomous system? Option A. Distribute list. Option B. Policy-based routing. Option C. Leak map. Option D. Route tagging. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A, distribute list. Question 12. What are two valid scaling techniques when an EIGRP network is designed that consist of more than 1000 routers? Choose 2. Option A. Use structured hierarchical topology with route summarization. Option B. Used sub-second timers. Option C. Use the distribute list command to filter routes. Option D. Modify delay parameters on the links. Option A. Implement multiple EIGRP autonomous systems. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. Use structured hierarchical topology with route summarization. Option A. Implement multiple EIGRP autonomous systems. Question 13. Refer to the exhibit. Which solution decreases the EIGRP convergence time? Option A. Enable sub-second timers. Option B. Increase the hold time value. Option C. Increase the dead timer value. Option D. Enable stub routing on the spokes. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Enable stub routing on the spokes. Question 14. A router running ISIS is showing high CPU and bandwidth utilization. An engineer discovers that the router is configured as L1 per liter 2 and has L1 and L2 neighbors. Which step optimizes the design to address the issue? Option A. Make this router a DIS for each of the interfaces. Option B. Disable the default behavior of advertising the default route on the L1, L2 router. Option C. Configure the router to be either L1 or L2. Option D. Configure each interface as either L1 or L2 circuit type. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Configure each interface as either L1 or L2 circuit type. Question 15. Which two routing protocols allow for unequal cost load balancing? Choose 2. Option A. EIGRP. Option B. IS. Option C. BGP. Option D. OSPF. Option A. RIPNG. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. EIGRP. Option C. BGP. Question 16. Which two steps can be taken to improve convergence in an OSPF network? Choose 2. Option A. Use bidirectional forwarding detection. Option B. Merge all the areas into one backbone area. Option C. Tune OSPF parameters. Option D. Make all non-backbone areas stub areas. Option A. Span the same IP network across multiple areas. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Use bidirectional forwarding detection. Option C. Tune OSPF parameters. Question 17. Which OSPF area blocks LSA type 3, 4 and 5, but allows a default summary route? Option A. Normal. Option B. Stub. Option C. NSSA. Option D. Totally stubby. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Totally stubby. Question 18. Refer to the exhibit. All routers currently reside in OSPF Area 0. The network manager recently used R1 and R2 as aggregation routers for remote branch locations and R3 and R4 as aggregation routers for remote office locations. The network has since been suffering from outages, which are causing frequent SPF runs. To enhance stability and introduce areas to the OSPF network with the minimal number of ABRs possible, which two solutions should the network manager recommend? Choose 2. Option A. A new OSPF area for R1 and R2 connections, with R1 and R2 as ABRs. Option B. A new OSPF area for R3 and R4 connections, with R5 and R6 as ABRs. Option C. A new OSPF area for R3 and R4 connections, with R3 and R4 as ABRs. Option D. A new OSPF area for R1, R2, R3, and R4 connections, with R1, R2, R3, and R4 as ABRs. Option A. A new OSPF area for R1 and R2 connections, with R5 and R6 as ABRs. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option B. A new OSPF area for R3 and R4 connections, with R5 and R6 as ABRs. Option A. A new OSPF area for R1 and R2 connections, with R5 and R6 as ABRs. Question 19. An engineer must design a solution to provide backup connectivity between two sites. The engineer plans to use an internet connection, but company policy requires the connection to be encrypted. Additionally, There are several applications that utilize multicast to deliver video streams between the sites. Which technology should the design include? Option A. Gray over IPsec. Option B. IPsec direct encapsulation. Option C. GETVPN. Option D. DMVPN. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Gray over IPsec. Question 20. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must design an IP addressing scheme for a multi-site network connected via a WAN. Transit. The campus site must accommodate 12,000 devices, and the branch sites must accommodate 1,000 devices. Which address scheme optimizes network device resources, contains convergence events to the different blocks of the network, and ensures the network's future growth? Option A. CENT Campus 10.0.0.0 18th CENT Branch 1 10.0.192 021st CENT Branch 2 10.0.200 021st. Option B. CENT Campus 10.0.0.0 16th CENT Branch 1 10.255 0.20th CENT Branch 2 10.255 16 0.20th. Option C. CENT Campus 10.0.0.0 10th CENT Branch 1 10.64 0.10th CENT Branch 2 10.128 0.10th. Option D. CENT Campus 10.0.0.0 20th CENT Branch 1 10.0.64 0.21st CENT Branch 2 10.0.128 0.21st. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. CENT Campus 10.0.0.0 18th CENT Branch 1 10.0.192 0.21st CENT Branch 2 10.0.200 0.21st. Question 21. Refer to the exhibit. Area 10 is a regular OSPF area, and networks 10, 1, 1, 0.24 and 172, 16, 1, 0.24 are internal. Which design provides optimal routing between both networks when the link between routers C and A fails? Option A. Move the link between routers C and D to area 10. Option B. Create an OSPF virtual link between routers A and F. Option C. Create a tunnel between routers A and F in area 10. Option D. Make area 10 a not so stubby area. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Move the link between routers C and D to area 10. Question 22. Refer to the exhibit. An engineer is designing an OSPF network for a client. Requirements dictate that the routers in Area 1 should receive all routes belonging to the network, including EIGRP, except the ones that originated in the RIP domain. Which action should the engineer take? Option A. Make Area 1 a NSSA. Option B. Make Area 1 a stub. Option C. Make Area 1 a standard OSPF area. Option D. Make the Area 1 routers part of Area 0. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Make Area 1 a NSSA. Question 23. An engineer is tasked with designing a dual BGP peering solution with a service provider. The design must meet these conditions. Asterisk the routers will not learn any prefix with a subnet mask greater than 24. Asterisk the routers will determine the routes to include in the routing table based on the length of the mask alone. Asterisk the routers will make this selection regardless of the service provider configuration. Which solution should the engineer include in the design? Option A. Use a route map and access list to block the desired networks, and apply the route map to BGP neighbors inbound. Option B. Use a route map and prefix list to block the desired networks, and apply the route map to BGP neighbors outbound. Option C. Use an IP prefix list to block the desired networks and apply the IP prefix list to BGP neighbors outbound. Option D. Use an IP prefix list to block the desired networks and apply the IP prefix list to BGP neighbors inbound. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Use an IP prefix list to block the desired networks and apply the IP prefix list to BGP neighbors inbound. Question 24. An engineer is designing an EIGRP network for a small branch office site where there is only one layer 3 router. The engineer wants the router to advertise the local LAN network to remote EIGRP neighbors without sending any unnecessary multicast messages on the local LAN. Which action should the engineer take? Option A. Use a static default route for this site instead of EIGRP. Option B. Advertise the local LAN using the network command and the passive interface feature. Option C. Redistribute the local LAN network using the redistribute connected command. Option D. Advertise the local LAN subnet as a stub network. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Advertise the local LAN using the network command and the passive interface feature. Question 25. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must design a solution to connect the network behind R3 with the EIGRP network. Which mechanism should be included to avoid routing loops? Option A. Downbit. Option B. Split horizon. Option C. Route tags. Option D. Summarization. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Route tags. Question 26. An architect is creating a migration strategy for a large organization in which the choice made by the application between IPv6 and IPv4 is based on the DNS request. Which migration strategy does the architect choose? Option A. AFT for public web presence. Option B. Host-initiated tunnels. Option C. Dual stack. Option D. Site-to-site IPv6 over IPv4 tunnels. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Dual stack. Question 27. An engineer is creating a design to enable IPv6 to run on an existing IPv4 is his network. The IPv4 and IPv6 topologies will match exactly, and the engineer plans to use the same as his router levels for each protocol per interface. Which is his design is required? Option A. Multi-topology without enabling transition feature. Option B. Multi-topology with transition feature enabled. Option C. Single topology without enabling transition feature. Option D. Single topology with transition feature enabled. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Single topology without enabling transition feature. Question 28. An engineer must connect a new remote site to an existing OSPF network. The new site consists of two low-end routers, one for WAN and one for LAN. There is no demand for traffic to pass through this area. Which area type does the engineer choose to provide minimal router resource utilization, while still allowing for full connectivity to the rest of the network? Option A. Not so stubby. Option B. Totally not so stubby. Option C. Totally stubby area. Option D. Stubby area. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Totally stubby area. Question 29. Refer to the exhibit. An architect is designing a BGP solution to connect a remote branch to a service provider. There are several prefixes within the branch that the company does not want to be advertised to the Internet. Which solution should the architect use to accomplish this? Option A. Attach the no export community with the prefixes to exclude. Option B. Use the BGP no advertise community for the prefixes to exclude. Option C. Set the BGP Internet community for all prefixes. Option D. Implement the NOPEER community. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Attach the no export community with the prefixes to exclude. Question 30. Refer to the exhibit. AS65533 and AS65530 are announcing a partial Internet routing table as well as their IP subnets. An architect must create a design that ensures AS64512 does not become a transit AS. Which filtering solution must the architect choose? Option A. No advertise. Option B. Next hop. Option C. No export. Option D. Maximum prefix. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option C. No export. Question 31. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must create a stable and scalable EIGRP solution for a customer. The design must conserve bandwidth, memory, and CPU processing, prevent suboptimal routing, avoid any unnecessary queries. Which two solutions must the architect select? Choose two. Option A. Route summarization. Option B. Prefix lists. Option C. Distribute lists. Option D. Stub routing. Option A. Static redistribution. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Route summarization. Option D. Stub routing. Question 32. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must design a solution to connect the two as to optimize bandwidth. The design will implement load sharing between router R6 and router R1. Which solution should the design include? Option A. Use update source to specify the loopback interface. Option B. Use next hop self attributes only for routes that are learned from eBGP peers. Option C. Configure the eBGP TTL to support eBGP multi-hop. Option D. Use maximum paths to install multiple paths in the routing table. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option D. Use maximum paths to install multiple paths in the routing table. Question 33. A customer's environment includes hosts that support IPv6 only. Several of these hosts must communicate with a public web server that has only IPv4 domain name. Resolution. Which solution should the customer use in this environment? Option A. Utilize NAT64 to translate the addresses. Option B. Implement NAT44 at the edge of the customer network. Option C. Use 624 and a tunnel to translate the addresses. Option D. Implement 6PE to resolve hostname resolution. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is Option A. Utilize NAT64 to translate the addresses. Question 34. A company is planning to open 2 new branches and allocate the 2 AO1. C30, 16, 7009, 3800 and 118th IPv6 network for the region. Each branch should have the capacity to accommodate a maximum of 200 hosts. Which 2 networks should the company use? Choose 2. Option A. 2001, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3A00, 120. Option B. 2001, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3B00, 121. Option C. 2001, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3A8121st. Option D. 201, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3C00, 120. Option A. 201, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3B00, 120. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option A. 201, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3A00, 120. Option A. 201, 0C30, 0016, 7009, 3B00, 120. Question 35. Refer to the exhibit. A network engineer must improve the current ISIS environment. The catalyst switch is equipped with dual supervisors. Each time a stateful switchover occurs, the network experiences unnecessary route recomputation. Which solution addresses this issue if the upstream router does not understand graceful restart? Messaging. Option A. Enable ISIS remote LFAFRR on both devices. Option B. Enable NSR on the switch. Option C. Enable NSF on the switch. Option D. Configure ISIS aggressive timers on both devices. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. Enable NSR on the switch. Question 36. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must design an IGP solution for an enterprise customer. The design must support physical link flaps should have minimal impact. Access routers should converge quickly after a link failure. Which two ISIS solutions should the architect include in the design? Choose two. Option A. Use BGP to ISIS redistribution to advertise all internet routes in the level 1 area. Option B. Advertise the ISIS interface and loopback IP address toward the internet and data center. Option C. Reduce SPF and PRC intervals to improve convergence time. Option D. Configure all access and aggregate routers to establish level 1, level 2 adjacencies across the network. Option A. Configure access routers to establish a level 1 adjacency and aggregate routers to establish a level 1, level 2 adjacency. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Reduce SPF and PRC intervals to improve convergence time. Option A. Configure access routers to establish a level 1 adjacency and aggregate routers to establish a level 1, level 2 adjacency. Question 37. Refer to the exhibit. An engineer is designing a routing solution for a customer. The design must ensure that a failure of network 10, 1, 0, 0 24, 10, 1, 2, 0 24, 10, 2, 1, 0 24, or 10, 2, 3, 0 24 does not impact the core. It also requires fast convergence time during any link failover in the core or access networks. Which solution must the engineer select? Option A. Add aggregation layer between core and access networks. Option B. Enable graceful restart on routers A and C. Option C. Enable FRR for the connected networks of routers A and C. Option D. Enable summarization on routers A and C. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option C. Enable FRR for the connected networks of routers A and C. Question 38. Refer to the exhibit. A network engineer is designing a network for AS100. The design should ensure that all traffic enters AS100 via link 1 unless there is a network failure. In the event of a failure, link 2 should function as the path for incoming traffic. Which solution should the design include? Option A. Modify the next hop attribute on R3. Option B. Use AS path prepending on R3. Option C. Modify the next hop attribute on R4. Option D. Use AS path prepending on R4. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Use AS path prepending on R4. Question 39. Refer to the exhibit. An architect must design a solution that uses the direct link between R1 and R2 for traffic from 10 0/24 toward network 10 20 0/24. Which solution should the architect include in the design? Option A. Configure the OSPF cost of the link to a value lower than 30. Option B. Lower the administrative distance for OSPF area 0. Option C. Place the link into area 2 and install a new link between R1 and R2 in area 0. Option D. Configure the link to provide multi-area adjacency. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option D. Configure the link to provide multi-area adjacency. Question 40. Refer to the exhibit. An engineer must design a WAN solution so that ISP1 is always preferred over ISP2. The path via ISP2 is considered as a backup and must be used only when the path to ISP1 is down. Which solution must the engineer choose? Option A. R1. Routes advertised to ISP1. 0xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP-1. High local preference, routes advertised to R2. No action, routes received from R2. Community no export R2. Routes advertised to ISP2. 5xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP2. Low local preference, routes advertised to R1. Community no advertise, routes received from R1. No action. Option B. R1. Routes advertised to ISP1. 0xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP-1. High local preference, routes advertised to R2. Community no export, routes received from R2. No action R2. Routes advertised to ISP2. 5xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP2. Low local preference, routes advertised to R1. No action, routes received from R1. No action. Option C. R1. Routes advertised to ISP1. 0xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP-1. Low local preference, routes advertised to R2. Community no advertise, routes received from R2. No action R2. Routes advertised to ISP2. 5xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP2. High local preference, routes advertised to R1. No action, routes received from R1. Community no advertise. Option D. R1. Routes advertised to ISP1. 5xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP-1. Low local preference, routes advertised to R2. Community no advertise, routes received from R2. No action R2. Routes advertised to ISP2. 0xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP2. High local preference, routes advertised to R1. Community no export, routes received from R1. No action. Choose the correct answer. Correct answer is option B. R1. Routes advertised to ISP1. 0xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP-1. High local preference, routes advertised to R2. Community no export, routes received from R2. No action R2. Routes advertised to ISP2. 5xAS path prepend, routes received from ISP2. Low local preference, routes advertised to R1. No action, routes received from R1. No action.